Yeah, and you were mentioning like a couple key characteristics of like great requirements tools, which is one, impact analysis, reusability. Which ones would you say are also key, especially when we're trying to have like an agile development as well, for this, for people to evaluate?
Agile, another thing I really like about Agile is there's a lot of emphasis on using models and diagrams as opposed to words to build requirements. I'm very into visual diagrams and models, and so I love requirements tools that allow us to do those graphical kinds of things. And, again, to me, if I can draw a diagram and each box on it, I can literally double click on and go see what else it's related to, or write some details behind it, or have another diagram behind it. That kind of leveling of diagrams and of requirements is a level of sophistication that you will never do in Visio or, in a graphics tool. And developers, this is, going back to, developers don't like to read requirements, but they do like diagrams, and they respond to that. And they're great ways to communicate. One of the things in Agile, this is a challenge for you guys at Visio. A lot of Agile teams will get up at a whiteboard and start sketching stuff out, right? And what we've learned to do as analysts is we take a picture of it, right? Now we've got a requirement in a photograph, and at least we can store that somewhere, so we've got it. But wouldn't it be great if a tool could kind of read the whiteboard diagram? And I know there are some actually electronic whiteboards that can kind of scan that stuff, but build those components into a requirements tool, so that I draw it and then it becomes a real diagram and it's something that I could build on. So those kinds of things are really exciting to me. And then other really easy things, Marcella, I'm amazed at, are so helpful, and most teams don't have, is like a glossary with reusable terms. People in companies do not use consistent terminology.
Yeah.
It sounds like such a simple thing, but I can't tell you how many clients I've worked with. We just built a simple glossary, and the people's eyes are opening, going, oh, now I see why we're having communication challenges.
And more importantly, the definitions that go along with it.
Exactly. What do we mean by this, right? And what a great tool for onboarding new employees, Or one of my clients recently was acquired by a larger company. They have a glossary that they can give to the company and say, this is how we use these terms, right? Now we have a common language, so that's really powerful. I like to even put my stakeholders into my requirements management tool with a little description of what they do and who they are and who they're related to. I mean, those are very important parts of requirements. There's just so many things that you can put into a shared repository and not lose them.
I mean, you see that in a lot of this came out of the DoD, where their standard, templates for, requirements specifications and things like that always had a term section, so you defined a lot of the terms that you were going to use within the document. So it made things, it seemed, heavy-handed, but it always clarified everything, because you can always point back and say, no, that's what that means. It's right there in the document.
and it was a lot of work when they first started, because you did everything by hand, right? But now it's so easy. If you have a glossary of terms and you can select, these are the 3 that are relevant to this, and just display them there, how much better it can be. But like I say, it was funny, I did an interview recently with one of the leaders of the IIBA in Brazil, and he said he didn't know anything about requirements management tools. He said, I don't understand why you think they're a good idea, and I was like,
wow.
Well, here's an example, right? And he was like, wow, that sounds really cool that I could reuse that, So it's just awareness and And again, the complexity. I just think that, we joke with that saying that it's not rocket science. Actually, I think requirements are rocket science. I think they're as complex as you can get. Because you got human beings with all these different opinions, and then you've got businesses with all kinds of crazy policies and all kinds of regulations they have to follow. And you have to pull all that stuff together and to make some kind of sense out of it, and then ask a software developer to actually build something, or a hardware, designer to build something to support all these conflicting, requirements. Now you can add, we've got to have green requirements for environmentally friendly products, and we've got to include diversity, and I mean, it just continues to get more
cybersecurity,
cybersecurity, right?